Happy St. Patrick's Day. Now, Canucks, take your head out of your ass. Folks, this is major. This is a major video breaking. It's not looking good on the Michigan Truth. If you don't know that, ambassador from USA to Canada, Toronto Consulate, Pete Hoekstra, Mr. Michigan, not the tire, the real deal. Real deal. He's our ambassador, our link to the United States for all Canadians, the president's representative, trade liaison for all 50 states, governors too. And I'm sorry, I just made a post before I did this live video. No, I don't add it in the title. Don't tag Mark Carney, any loser liberals, any mentally ill conservatives. I don't do it. There's plenty of you doing a lot of this by the day now. My friend Angie Wilson, see you there, Angie. She asked me, and I said, Angie, I'm going to do a live for you and Benjamin Ebley. I'm going to do this live because it's huge. It was 14 months ago, middle of winter. I'm sitting in Bowmanville, cold, dark. I'm on the phone with Benjamin Ebley. And we're going through post-Christmas 2025, 14 months ago, just fresh with Donald J. Trump. He hadn't even taken officially office yet. This is pre-January 6th. I'm in my car and I go, you know, Ben, what Trump's doing, what he's aiming at, of course, me, my oil, natural gas brain where I've spent my life, said, this is really bad, Ben, for Canada and China. See, if USA targets 2 or 3 countries and backs Russia, they can literally expand USA's control of energy, critical energy, the best energy known on the planet to date, best source of energy, natural gas and oil. Every Canadian should know that. If you've survived a winter in Canada, or like myself, 48 thus far, you are thanking Christ above, for natural gas. So if you've ever tried to make a go of a Canadian winter without natural gas, good luck. You learn what it's like to need heat, to know how important heat is, to know what it is to have a good night's sleep, safe and secure. Oh sure, folks do winter camping. They sure love and running back to their natural gas heated homes, especially in Canada. Canadians don't know that to be true. You've never seen a harsh winter in your life. You're lucky. You're in a remote area of BC, or maybe you're in the lowest of lower and upper Canada in that U.S. context. You've had some good winters. You haven't had many, obviously. That's one thing. There are a number of countries who control all the natural gas in the world. It's called the Michigan Truth. It's older than all the things I go through on oil and natural gas. And a long time ago, Michigan Republicans, Michigan Democrats came out with an analysis that they've kept up with. This is the state of Michigan. I just re-released that right before I did this video. You can look at the Michigan Truth on natural gas and oil. And if that doesn't start to show you where Donald J. Trump and the United States of America is going as the ultimate warrior on those energy fronts, beyond everybody else in the world by a landslide and getting ready to take a mass amount of market share. The question is, how do they do that without a major military conflict? Well, that's a very easy question. Me and my friend Benjamin Ebley, American, went through 14 months ago in January. That would mean America would have to make an economic union with Russia and sign off on all the others on the Michigan list. This Michigan list is also Russia's list, completed in an oblast, and I'm not going to tell you which oblast it is, but there's an oblast who did this study too. It's the Michigan version in Russia, and it's not my place to get in there, and I won't, but because America released it, because that was released at least this last February, 11 months after I did that analysis with Benjamin Ebley. We spent hours in the cold winter, at least for me, not so much for Ben, but for me. And we went through all that, and I said, you know, if USA says to hell with NATO, because Ben was looking at that a lot of these things Trump is planning or stating are gross violations of NATO, and that would mean that's the end of NATO. And a lot of folks don't want to believe it until this week. Now, analysis I've done, Michigan truths released, are coming to pass. This is Democrat and Republican truths completed a long time ago. I've been in talks all along, especially with what Americans call the flip-flopping states. They're the swing states, swing one to the other on specific ideas. Natural gas and oil are one of them. Michigan's not well known for either, except for they're on that Illinois route and they're involved in that. And they look at these things. They did an analysis no other state or federal government in the United States ever did before. They did it, they push it, they present it. They've had a number of Republicans and Democrats go forward. Trump's the first president in the history of the United States to answer that. And I'm going to tell you something, Canadians. When you finish Iran, and you say, you know what? We don't need the Hormuz Canal. We're going to ex-nay Iran completely. Yes, people talk about oil. Oh, the oil, the oil, the oil. Largely for who? China. China upgrades just like USA upgrades from Canada. Iran is China's number one source, as is Iran for India. If you ex-nay Iran, you can then ex-nay Canada, that's quickly becoming a replacement for China, and you've ex-nayed China. Do you know who are the only three players left at that point? Globally, USA and Russia. Now, Russia won't stand for any of that and would tag team with China if it push came to shove, unless USA decides to make an economic agreement with Russia, like releasing what I told you all on March 9th in my analysis. The only one to do that analysis that Trump and his administration enacted. Mike Waltz published on the 12th, the morning of our petition letter submission. My March 9th analysis went in, And we're currently, everybody, on day 8. Even media is telling you oil prices are holding for a very short term. I know what that short term is. It's 8 days left. 8 days left. Then oil's going to shoot up again. Unless USA and Russia create a long-term agreement. Now, folks, I already know this analysis too. That long-term agreement with Russia and USA is 2027, but I can promise you, Ixnay, Iran, and Hormuz Canal are never ever needed again globally and worldwide. If USA and Russia come to terms, how do they come to terms? USA has to quit NATO. What does USA get for quitting NATO? They get to split Iran's 20% natural gas of this world. They get to split the 16% oil of this world in market share. Well, USA doesn't have the oil. Who's going to ramp up production? Oh, it's got to be Canada, right? Wrong. It's Russia. That's Russia ramping up production and can deliver easily by, yes, 2027. But in 3 months, slowly start making impacts where USA oil will go from $3.50 by 2027 back down to where it is today for the rest of Americans' lives and every generation if Russia and USA came to terms, which also means coming to terms with all critical minerals. I did that analysis a year ago. That's on my timeline. Russia can supply every critical metal needed for the United States to replace everybody in the world. Everybody forgets Russia's been under tremendous sanctions. And that's because of NATO. But what if USA says, fuck you, European Union. Fuck you, UK. And that crusty old dirty fuck King Charles and all his loser Brent friends. And I really want, it's good for Americans to hear this. I know you don't like all the swearing. Remember, I'm a Canadian subject. It's different for us. We have to smash it way harder than you guys. Way harder. Way harder. There isn't freedom of expression. There isn't freedom of speech. So when you speak, you got to speak vulgarly to subjects. I know you don't understand. I know you look at me like, that's so unchristian how you talk. There's nothing Christian about us when we're church understate. But this is so very important, especially for dumb fuck Canuckas, Canadians, Canucks. You stupid, dumb, ignorant, brutally institutionalized dummies. Oh, Brent's doing really well. Do you know Brent Field has been toast forever, drained dry by the UK. Highest price oil in the world, if you didn't know. Through what? All the kingdom worlds, all 9 kingdoms supply Brent, not UK. UK's got Northern Ireland, offshores, many fields all the way through into Norway. Again, 9 kingdom empires make the Brent, which is a pathetic 1.7 million on the best day barrels of oil per day. Nowhere on the list to get highest prices, control all that, and USA milks the world for them, milking gold liquid into a cup for all those UKers. For what? Why does USA defend them? They certainly love the Hormuz Canal shutdown. Look at Brent run through the roof. Canadians are like, yeah! Inflation! Inflation! Kill my kids! Made program! Kill! 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 That's not an American. Americans are very Christian in soul, in heart, and in constitution. They don't want any of that. They don't support any of that. They're angry, even though WTI is through the roof too. Americans are angry. They don't want it. Neither does Trump. But he's going to put it out there. He's going to do this moment and make a decision, everybody. Do I ex-nay Iran? Carry along Saudi Arabia? But let's be honest. Who is that might? Both USA and Russia for Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is going to go, we don't want to fuck with anybody. We're going to leave it to you, USA, you, Russia. We get that much. That leaves two other assholes left. Who do you think those fucking assholes are? Again, I'm sorry for Americans. I know you don't like it. But I have to speak to Canadians now. Those two fucking assholes are Canada and China. And they flip-flop reverse. Ex-nay Iran, deal Russia, go forward with Saudi Arabia. The only two enemies left are Canada in natural gas, then China, and then it's flipped. China and then Canada. Oil. Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah. This is a reality coming forward. It's called the Michigan Swing State Truth. It's on my timeline before this video. I'm not going to put it in the video. I'm going to let you people do your own work. Get to know me for a change. I'm tired of the Canadian mentality. You got a link for this. Where do you find that? Mama. Americans don't do that. Do you know what I get from people like Angie Wilson, Benjamin Ebley, and so many other Americans? Dave, did you see this? Hey, Dave, did you miss this or did you get that? That's what I get from Americans. Just doing all that work and showing you stuff. Wow, cool. And a majority Canadians, not loyal friends and followers. Don't get all upset here, friends and followers. But there is a lot. Gimme, do it for me. Where do I find that? How do I get that? I don't know. Right? Americans hate that fucking mentality. They hate that. That is not an American citizen, and nothing Americans want from any country in the world, let alone Canada, as an American citizen. Again, I'm not talking to my loyal friends and followers. But it's definitely a minority's minority. Way down a minority's minority. I'm telling you, Canada, you are on the chopping block on this file, oil and natural gas, right after Iran. Because let's face it, Venezuela's locked down. Iran, they're going to finish off. Does USA really need to fuck with the Hormuz Canal? Or are they going to take the rest of my analysis that leads them into everything? Critical minerals, microchips, all of it, just by dealing with Russia. A second to their fiddle. Well, they're half their population. If you were America, everybody, and you're dealing with countries around the world, what would you deal with? The communists or a civil law socialist who's at least a federalism, has a president and all of that? At least a federalism where they have similarities. Come on, folks. It's not hard to figure out here. Supreme leader or president of Russia? Communist China or president of the Russian Federation? Which would you rather deal with? If you can take that might, can build the wealth of America, which fight would you rather, or I should say, which devil would you rather deal with? Which devil? No, I see the Russian deal. I see the Bering Strait. I see that crisscross from Alaska to the British Columbia version right across from it in Russia. People don't look at the world as a globe where America and countries like Russia in space satellite can make any center they want, pinpoint any center and look from there. Wow, Russia and USA are neighbors, or Russia and USA are separated by the Arctic, or Russia and USA are neighbors on this side. Don't matter. 3 different oceans for Russia and USA. They're neighbors. Any way you look at this. Atlantic's the worst way to go for Russia and USA. It's either Arctic or Pacific. Very close. Very workable. Very doable. Lots of infrastructure and a little bit more. Reality is, for America, that's a smart move. A very smart move. Democrat and Republican, age-old truth. It's called the Michigan Truth. And I put that up in the post before this. Me and Benjamin Ebley did this analysis. I hit him heavy with all these things, saying, you know, this can be replaced by Russia for a fraction of the cost to everybody else. The only reason why it isn't is because first the Cold War, aka then NATO. Is there a need for NATO anymore? Really? Is Ukraine a big deal for the United States? Why is USA paying a lion's share way over in a far, far 7,000 mile away area? That has nothing to do with the United States. Everything to do with Europe, UK, and the 9 kingdoms. What the fuck does that have to do with USA? Its sphere of influence. It seems it's all those people, not USA. But yet Americans are on the hook for literally 40% of all of that threat. But there's no threat to USA. So at some point, when USA is in this kind of debt and everyone's slamming them, it wouldn't matter Democrat or Republican presidency. At what point do you say, you know what? We can take energy security to the next level, an insane level, and we control the world's energy. We are the dominant factor and force just by making one deal, one country, then smash, ex-nay, all the rest. And there is literally nothing nobody, no how, can do about it if those two strike an accord. And if you didn't know this was real, Putin's already presented it as an alternate to a Ukraine deal. And now all of a sudden NATO's at risk. Because why should USA worry about the fucking Hormuz Canal that has nothing to do with their oil? It's for China. It's for India. But for the betterment of the European Union and UK at the expense of USA. So, Americans, Canadians, Canuckas, wake up, because you're on the ex-nay list. And if you're America, and you're eating the world's share of the debt, and every domestic American has a federal debt beyond anybody else in the world, because they're the world police for conflicts that have nothing to do with America, and then the media runs them down every time. Okay, well then fuck it. You're right. Fuck it. Fuck the world. And we'll worry about America first. You're right. We'll sign one deal with one country. Gives us everything else we need. We'll ex-nay everybody else. And you think they won't come on their hands and knees begging when USA controls 70% of the world's energy sources, you better believe they'll come begging. And Russia's got the other 30%. Think about that. Think about this. And if you think it don't make sense, or how could you, you haven't read the Michigan Truth. Again, if you want to know what that is, it's posted on my timeline right before this video. God bless everybody. Love you all. I see massive coming at an unbelievable, unprecedented rate. You get what you ask for. You get what you deserve. The most beautiful thing about Donald J. Trump is his honesty. But another thing is he's like a sponge where you can hit him as hard as you can. And all the force, like water, the tidal wave of water hits it, buries the sponge, and all the water's gone. That sponge is sitting there like a sopping brick. Heavy as hell, it's got all the water in it. That's Donald J. Trump. Then he just goes, and all the water goes flying in everybody's face. And he's back to what he was. That's what he does. Absorbs, releases. The best way I've ever seen. Beyond anything, things I've touched on. And I am truly blessed. Especially for an average, everyday Joe Jane Canadian subject. Where I've been and what I've learned, what I'm sharing, this is incredible. It makes my head go poof. I know, and you know, I know Benjamin Nebley's sitting there going, wow, we sat there for hours. It's unbelievable. This whole week has been just a shock load to my system. For all those wondering, I know a lot of Canadians on a positive note, although this is all positive in its own right, it's not great for Canada. But Canada did this to itself, and Canadians allowed this to happen. But petition, we're at the 50% mark. That's where I'm at. I have to go to night shift, everybody. Switching on Thursday. This whole week's been really chaotic for me. In a normal way, in my life at least normal. Moving into a great place, which is awesome. Going to be set up very well. Going to get conditioned to my new reality, which is good. But I have a 30-hour period because of the shift changes to really smash it out, get that done. Don't fret, everybody. Your signatures, your petition, it's now more than 8 pages long, which is something else. I might have to shrink that down. Haven't got there yet. I'm still crossing T's, dotting I's, making sure everything's accurate. Email system in place, runs through everybody, confirming spellings are right. Continue on. Should be done by the weekend, I hope. But again, we have to the 25th, so don't sweat it. Everything's going well. We're doing very well. So many more to go through. It's going to be excellent. Love you all. That's my video. Get it out there. Share. Huge Michigan truth. Undeniable. I know.